Welcome to episode 26 of the Cinematic Boys podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Deadpool Wolverine and some MCU news. There we go. I'm with my boy Dakota as always, and we got a special guest, be it phenomenal John or the phenomenal Birch today, apparently. But introduce yourself, my man.
So the Phenomenal Bunch is my YouTube name. That's my YouTube channel with my brother. And yeah, I'm finally glad to be on the podcast. I've been wanting to be on this for a while now. Perfect episode of me for me to join is Deadpool and Wolverine talking about the MCU. A lot of crazy stuff happened in Comic Con and in the movie, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Sounds good, my man. So start off this episode, I'll let John. Have you seen new movies recently? Like any Letterboxd movies that you want to share?
So my most recent movie was Deadpool, but before that it was Long Legs and Kinds of Kindness,
All right. How
and
about
then
you?
also I watched Maxine. So
Nice. How about you, Dakota? Any movies you seen recently?
Yes, I've seen pretty good bit. So since our last episode, I've watched three movies. So I watched The Strangers Chapter One, Deadpool and Wolverine, and today I just watched Tarot.
Nice, nice. And for me, I just went through all the Deadpool movies, including Deadpool Wolverine and the Ministry of Unjustified Warfare. So let's kick into Deadpool Wolverine thoughts. John, what are your non-spoiler thoughts on this film?
So to start off with my non-spoiler thoughts, I went into it with somewhat low expectations. I was excited to see it, but I'm kind of tired of the multiverse stuff we've been seeing. I think it's overdone already to this point. I'm kind of ready for them to move on from that. But when I went to go see it, it kind of proved me wrong. It was a lot better than I thought it was. It was actually really, really fun. So I'm glad I was proven wrong.
Yeah. How about you, Dakota?
I really enjoyed Deadpool Wolverine. First of all, Deadpool is always good. It's Ryan Reynolds, and once you add Hugh Jackman in and his chemistry as Wolverine, it's just fantastic. Like John said, these past few MCU projects, besides like Black Panther, Spider Man, No Way Home, and Guardians, there have not been that great. And I kind of thought this movie was going to be good, but outdone my expectations. And I'm kind of excited to see what the future holds, at least
Yeah.
like the multiverse stuff, because I don't know what the MCU is going with right now. But we will talk about that later on.
Yeah, for sure. And my thoughts on this movie is I really enjoyed it. I really dug it. I love the dynamics between Wolverine and Deadpool, and that just works with the great chemistry that Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds had. You can really tell they were having so much fun making this movie. The humor, I'll say 70% of the humor really worked for me, really clicked for me. I did think the multiverse stuff was a bit confusing and just kind of loses itself in the plot. But other than that, it's just a super fun movie as a whole. Uh, all right, so my next question is before we get into the cameos and stuff, what's your favorite scene in Deadpool Wolverine? And we're going to spoilers now.
Oh, I finally got him to join.
What's up, y'all?
So, anyway, this is my brother Sean. What was your favorite scene in the movie?
My favorite scene was I have a lot of them. I mean, most notably, I want to say is finally seeing Channing Tatum's Gambit.
Mm,
And the fact that Channing Tatum actually he was actually able to do the Gambit accent, the Louisiana accent.
yeah,
I thought
yeah,
that was
for sure.
cool because I didn't think he had it. I didn't think he had it in him because Channing Tatum was known for very one-dimensional roles. So, but I think for this one, he actually kind of prepared himself a lot. He
Yeah,
kind of dive deep into the source material. So that was cool.
yeah,
It
and
was a one-to-one recreation of the comic book version, which I was shocked by.
Yeah,
I didn't
this
even
was
even by the suit and the silver boots. It was kind of insane.
yeah, this was
yeah.
probably more of a nostalgia fest for me. I want to say more than No Way Home, just because like you know we grew up with the Fantastic Four, so seeing Human Torch again, that was
Yeah,
cool.
that's
That brought back some memories. Seeing Blade, I remember watching the Blade trilogy on my cousin's PC back in the day. That was cool. It was great seeing
yeah,
everybody back.
yeah, for sure. And just having like the tribute to the 20th Century Fox characters and the previous movies is something really special about this movie. as a whole, because I feel like they do a great job of showing how much respect and care they have with those previous characters and bringing them back into Deadpool and Wolverine. And I feel like they're not really cameos because they do have things to do in the plot to make the plot moving. Dakota, what's your favorite scene, man?
My favorite scene is the opening scene.
The opening scene?
Yes, I love the opening scene so much. It's probably for me one of the best opening scenes to an MCU movie.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And for me, my favorite scene is the forest conversation between X-23 and Wolverine when you know the scene when X-23 said you're always been the wrong guy until you're warned, and having that heart to heart was really amazing, especially with how it goes back to Logan. It's just an emotional scene that hits you in the feels. It was a small scene that means so much in the film as a whole.
Yeah,
Uh,
What you
I
got
agree.
next?
That was one of my favorite scenes in the movie as well. That ending, that it was something along the lines of the TVA. I forgot her name, but she's talking to Deadpool and Logan at the end, and Deadpool's like, "Oh, I promised him that you guys could change the past for him, bring back, the X-Men that he lost." And she was like, "Well, it's because of his past that he made the heroic decision he made today, so I can't go back and change it."
yeah,
So that was a very powerful line.
Yeah.
yeah, and that was just a beautiful scene as a whole. And John, I know you're a huge comic book reader, so did you like some comic book Easter eggs that they put into Deadpool Wolverine?
Yeah, so I'm a big comic book guy, but X Men have always been my blind spot. So I did recognize a couple things here and there. Hulk's the Hulk fight, Wolverine's first appearance is when he fights the Hulk, so I thought that was a very good representation of that. It was a little bit of a joke, but they did add like comic accurate Wolverine. You can see
Oh yeah,
comic
that was good.
Wolverine right
Yeah,
next to me right
I
now.
was just gonna say that.
Yeah, but that was funny. Even though as a 5'4" man myself, that was a little bit inaccurate. We do not look
Yeah,
that.
we're not that small.
We're not that small, you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
like
no, there's a lot of nice comic book stuff in here.
hey, MCU, if you need new Wolverines, John and Sean right
You know what's
there,
funny?
like in
You
the
know what's funny?
opening right
I
there.
actually cosplayed, or I actually dressed up like Wolverine for, I believe it was 2016 Halloween, and I did pretty well. Like I got the hair going on, I had the muscles, I had the wife beater, and I look pretty accurate. I think I can still pull it off. Just give me 6 months, actually.
Yeah, and I think my next question is going for be for everyone. What are your thoughts on that Henry Cavill like little cameo in there?
It was hilarious.
Yes.
It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
because like I was one of the many people that were very disappointed that Henry Cavill was fired from playing Superman. I
Yeah,
thought that James Gunn dropped the ball with him, and I was really sad for him. Like especially when Henry Cavill dropped that long paragraph on Instagram saying that, "Hey guys, I'm sorry about this. I was under the impression that I would be coming back, but then I had a
yeah,
meeting with James Gunn, and he said that I won't be playing Superman going forward." So I feel really bad. So I feel like this was kind of like a stab, no pun intended, at those. Those guys down the street, so to
yeah,
speak.
exactly. Yeah. So Dakota, what are your thoughts on that scene or cameo?
I like it a lot because if you look at every other Wolverine variant, it's always Hugh Jackman. I thought it was going to be different because if you look when Deadpool was walking up to him, he was a lot bigger than what Hugh Jackman is, and everyone besides like the DC thing of DC kicking him out and everything, Marvel always wanted like Marvel fans always wanted for him to be Wolverine at some point. And it's kind of like with the John Krasinski thing. Everyone wanted him to be Mr. Fantastic. And I think this was a great moment to probably show to the fans, like, we're not going to be castrating Henry Cavill, but this is what you get.
Yeah, exactly. And I also like that little Easter egg at the bicycle reloads. They did Mission Impossible Fallout before like hitting Deadpool. I thought that was a little great teaser in there. It cares about. It shows that did care about Henry Cavill's work outside of superhero movies at the same time. So it's like a respect thing that Sean Levy really brought into this film as a whole.
Right.
So my next question is, what was the most emotional scene that hit you in the feels in Deadpool Wolverine?
Yeah, I mean, besides the ending that I mentioned earlier, I would say what actually got me surprisingly emotional were the credits when they were showing a little
That
montage
yeah,
of.
that actually got to
Yeah,
me a lot.
Yeah, because I mean that those are the movies we grew up with, right? You know, they were outside of the MCU before the MCU was even a thing. You know, we had X-Men, we had Fantastic Four, we had Daredevil, we had this, that, the other. So yeah, I mean, I was very, very happy to see that. I think it was such a nice way to pay tribute to those movies. I was worried before this movie came out that it was just going to make fun of everything and, you know, kill everybody off just as a joke. They did that with Johnny Storm for sure, but everyone else was able to they were given a chance to shine.
yeah,
So I really, really
yeah,
appreciated that from the movie.
Well, other than that, I mean, that did kind of like get me in my feels a little bit. Not gonna lie, them showing the behind the scenes footage. But I want to say, in terms of the actual movie, just to answer your question, I would say it's that one scene where Cassandra Nova goes inside Deadpool's like mind. Her fingers are like there, and then she
yeah.
says, she's like trying to impersonate what's Moreno Baccarin's name?
Vanessa.
Vanessa. She's calling Deadpool a disappointment, I believe.
Yeah,
So and then from that, like I kind of like felt it, like yeah, because I think every man has like that universal experience of like not being
yeah,
enough, you know.
exactly. How about you, Dakota?
For me, like you guys said, the end credits, all that stuff. But I think it's the part where X-23 is talking to Wolverine, and
Yeah,
we actually find out what happened to the entire X-Men in his timeline, where he went to a bar, left them all behind, told them that they were going to be safe, and that he was just going to go off for the night, be back in the morning. He got drunk, and by the time he came back, all the humans came out and they killed all the X-Men. And
yeah,
he's
yeah.
and it really, I think not only during that scene, but you kind of can see during the whole entire movie, it really wears on him about that.
Oh, I was muted. Sorry about that. So I actually
Okay.
have a question for both you guys. So I didn't really understand that. So for this Wolverine, for this variant, what exactly happened to his X-Men? Because he said that the humans came while he was at a bar, which doesn't make any sense because humans pose no threat to mutants. Like I'm pretty sure, for example, like Beast could easily like fight off like a group of humans. Like I'm pretty sure like Kitty Pryde could like phase through a bunch of walls and run away. So I didn't really understand that.
So
Yeah,
I was wondering it because I wonder if it's at night. So while they were sleeping or something, they got all ambushed at once.
Maybe by like Bolivar Trask's people or strikers, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
Striker. But I wish they explored that more about the Wolverine, like why he is the worst Wolverine, quote unquote. Like I wish they explored that and explained why this Wolverine is the way he is. Because I feel like they could have used a little bit of runtime to explore his background, to have like a more of an emotional punch to his character. Because I feel like it took a while to get emotionally attached to the Wolverine, if that makes sense.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah, I
but
agree.
I think the great scene was the scene where they were in was it the Odyssey, and we have that scene where Wolverine's calling Deadpool a joke, and having that scene of Deadpool being upset about it, and then having that really close quarter action scene. I thought a emotional fight scene, and it just works for the film and just adds layer to emotions towards both characters.
Yeah, I agree. That was, I guess, my two nitpicks about the movie. I just think the motivations weren't there for either Deadpool and Wolverine. I just thought Wolverine's motivation, like before we learn exactly what happened, he's just a younger version of the Wolverine we saw in Logan,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then Deadpool's motivation. Um, Speaking of comics, one of the writers on this movie is Zeb Wells, who is currently writing the Amazing Spider-Man run right now. And one of the first things he did is he broke up MJ and Peter Parker. And in this movie, he breaks up Deadpool and Vanessa. And it's for like the dumbest reason, in my opinion. I don't think that's fleshed out very well either.
Yeah,
And I just thought the motivation wasn't there. I think the
yeah,
first Deadpool movie is the only one out of the three to properly handle their relationship together.
yeah.
So and at the end of this one, they're back together anyway, so it was kind of pointless. So
Right.
Exactly. So like, what are your thoughts on like like the opening, not opening scene, like the scene where Deadpool wants to be adventure, having a whole conversation with Happy Hogan? Like, what are your thoughts on that scene? Does
I
I
think
feel
that was kind of like a segue from Fox universe to Marvel, because you have a Fox character kind of like trying to, so to speak. I guess like that scene kind of symbolized sort of maybe the transaction that went on with Fox and Disney. Uh, if you guys get what I'm saying,
yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah, yeah.
But, but we also got John Favreau in the Daredevil movie 2003, so sort of
Yes.
like a
Yeah,
mini
because if you
Easter egg.
think about it, John Favreau was kind of like one of those actors who's an OG Fox guy and an OG Marvel guy. And think about it, he also directed the first MCU movie, which was Iron Man back in 2008.
Yeah. And I feel like it was just really nice seeing John Favreau in the like during that conversation. Plus, I feel like that scene was hilarious. It was fitting with Deadpool, and I thought it was a great scene. So, where Dakota, what are your thoughts on that scene, man?
I thought it was not a bad, kind of like what they're saying. It's kind of like a transition. Like I can understand where you're coming from with the Fox deal. When Disney bought Fox, it kind of shows that. But overall, it's a good transition because we always know Deadpool for being in the Fox universe, and it's like he's probably, because it's so weird because it says 616, but he's in a different universe. So it's like he was hopping from universe to universe, and it kind of shows like he already has some multiverse abilities
Yeah,
beforehand, and it kind of, because it kind of established that like at the beginning, like this is a multiverse movie. This is how we're going to transition him from the Fox to the MCU.
yeah. And I mean, he does have some multiverse experience because of the cable watch thing when he went back in time to save Vanessa after Deadpool 2. Also to say Peter. Speaking of Peter, what y'all think about his scenes in this
Go.
movie? Because I thought he was golden, bro. Like during the sequence where you see a whole bunch of Deadpools and you see Wolverine and Deadpool just kill all the Deadpool variants, and then while they regenerate, except for Nice Pool, rest in peace.
I thought that was funny. He
Hmm.
uses them as a shield, and then
I guess I guess his healing factor wasn't so nice.
yeah, exactly.
But anyways, I thought that whole sequence was really creative. It
Right.
gives like a little nod to Spyverse a little bit, especially with the
Right.
different.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
kind of got an Across the Spider Verse feel from when all those Deadpool variants showed up, and
yeah,
we started seeing like a bunch of like, I guess alternate versions of Deadpool that we're familiar with.
yeah.
Now,
But
speaking of that, I actually have a question for all three of you guys. Do you guys Was that Blake Lively in the Lady Deadpool suit?
yes, it
Yes,
was, and I think the baby pool
and
and
the kid.
kid pool was Ryan Reynolds and like Lively's kids.
Yeah, it was
Oh
like
wow,
Gotcha.
his.
I
Okay.
did not know that actually.
Wow.
That's so
Uh,
obvious. I didn't even realize.
I guess the parents gave the permission. I'm assuming.
yeah. And Catboy Pool was played by Andrew McConaughey, which was super cool.
Which one?
The cowboy.
Cowboy.
Oh, Matthew
Oh,
McConaughey.
that's awesome.
Really?
I didn't
Yeah,
know
Is he credited? Let's see.
yeah, he's credited in it.
Yeah, it
I
was
kind of
in.
thought it was when he was talking. It kind of sounded like
Yeah,
him.
No, I thought it was Ryan Reynolds voicing all of them. Kind of like how he
No,
voiced them. Oh, you guys are right.
yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
Cowboy Pool.
It's super cool seeing Matt McConaughey. It's so fitting too because he is basically a cowboy in real life, right?
I think I'm convinced bro was probably in his like $5 million mansion, and then Ryan Reynolds might have texted him, and I'm assuming bro just went to like a random one of his like a random spot in his mansion and like recorded the lines via voice memos and then sent it over.
Yeah, and speaking of the Chris Evans cameo, I thought it was a great homage to not only Johnny Storm in the 2005 film, but Ryan Reynolds and Chris Evans work into Chris Evans cameoed in Free Guy, so having that little nod together was something really great. But god damn, Chris Evans was hilarious. Every single little joke he did made me laugh so much. And he was in this movie for like 7 minutes. It wasn't a small cameo, and I
Yeah,
really
it was great seeing Johnny Storm back because like me and John actually grew up with Fantastic Four. Like we were really big fans of the 2005 movie that came out, and it's funny actually. This is something that we've been talking about for like a long time. So surprisingly, I was a big fan of Mr. Fantastic. He was a big fan of Human Torch.
yeah.
And then so it got to the point where like we were like, "Oh, I'm Mr. Fantastic," and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm Human Torch." But now it's like kind of like the complete opposite. Now I would say I'm more like Human Torch in terms of like um character like personality traits, and he's more like Mr. Fantastic in terms of personality traits.
Yeah,
He's sort of
exactly.
like the brains. I'm more of like the comedic relief.
And going off of that, like you two said you grew up on the Fantastic Four, the original one. I grew up like I watched the original when it was released on DVD, and I was really excited for when Rise of the Silver Surfer came out,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
and I got that straight when it was released first day
Yeah.
on physical media.
And I also grew up with the OG Fantastic Four movie. I think I watched that movie when I was like 8 or 9. So it was another movie I grew up with. It was like for me, I think my three first Marvel movies were like Sam Raimi 1 and 2, and it was Fantastic Four 2005. So it was a great memory for me as well in there. But the character I always loved was Blade. I love the little joke they did. I'm the
Yes.
one and only Blade because Marshall Ali's Blade's still not out there, is still getting delayed. So it's like I like that they take shots at the MCU in this movie, and they're not holding back. So
Right.
I'm surprised Kevin Feige allowed so many jokes in there. I find it hilarious that the multiverse thing is a miss, a miss, a miss. That joke was like genius because let's be real, the MCU has not did well with the multiverse stuff yet.
Yeah, there's even a point where I'm in the portal scene, Deadpool said something along the lines of like, "Alrighty, guys, this multiversal stuff is getting kind of like oversaturated or something like that." Because that's a complaint that like a lot of us fans have been having, especially him. He's been saying like it's been getting too like repetitive.
Yeah, I think the reason why those jokes were allowed, though, is I think because this movie is such a class act in terms of treating the other properties we've gotten before. And I mean, I didn't think they would have minded any jokes thrown at the MCU because I mean, it is still a money printer as of this day.
Yeah,
So I don't think any jokes in Deadpool is gonna make people not go see the next one. But I was just surprised at how much class and taste this movie had. I thought this was just gonna be, kind of a tasteless, tour of making fun of everything possible with no substance to it, but it was quite the opposite, which I
Yeah,
appreciated.
yeah, it did show a lot of respect to the Fox universe. I felt that scene where Deadpool and Wolverine they wake up in that one, um, I guess uh, I guess hideout where Gambit, Blade, Elektra, and X-23 were, and then they went to like that area where Cassandra Nova was, like Paul Rudd's corpse, and then the way how they were just kicking ass left and right. I felt that was kind of like
yeah,
an homage to the Fox universe. Like, hey, we got Blade, we got Daredevil, and then we got X-Men characters going at it.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean
But
Elektra too, which was shocking because
Yeah,
Elektra
yeah,
was not very critically received, well received when it came out.
yeah, I agree with that. But I also like the joke they did with Punisher's rocket launcher too.
yeah,
I wonder if they were trying to get one of the old Punisher actors
like
in
Thomas
there.
Jane.
Yeah, John was Jane in there, but he couldn't make it. I was just wondering if that's the case. It'd be hilarious to see Ben Affleck's Daredevil in there, but I don't
Well,
think.
in the movie they confirmed that he died in the void.
Yeah, he died, but I wonder if they tried to get him at least, but it
That
never.
would have been funny because that would have been another like DC actor coming into a Marvel movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If
Yeah.
you got Superman and Batman in the same movie, that would have been really funny.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So for me, I was really shocked that Blade was in this because Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes did not get along with each other
Right.
on the set of Blade Trinity, and they must like settle their beef for them to be in this movie together. But the other thing I like is the nod of kind of Elektra's nod to Daredevil that he's not here, not very good. I thought it was a really big shot of probably Ben Affleck, where that's his ex-wife.
Yeah,
But
I like heard about that Blade Trinity beef too, because I remember liking the movie back in the day. But then hearing more about it, I liked the movie, but a lot of people didn't like it. I guess the movie wasn't critically received that well. And then finding more about it, digging deep, I also found out that Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds didn't get along. And then I actually saw like a set photo, and someone kind of speculated that like Ryan Reynolds hired the CW Blade instead of Wesley Snipes because they didn't get along on set. But it was good seeing Wesley Snipes back because he's
Yeah,
the Blade that I grew up with, And then, in my opinion, I think he's one of my favorite portrayals of a comic book character because he's like straight from the comics.
yeah, but also like you still get like the one-liners that Wesley Snipes was doing in the Blade movies, which
Yeah.
was super cool. The little action scene he got was super badass. Speaking of action, Gambit was kicking some ass with his bars.
Gambit
Big
was beast.
Channing
Gambit,
Tatum went all in. I think he was acting in there like as if it was his own movie.
Yeah.
like
No, like
he went all in.
Channing Tatum like really surprised me. Like
yeah.
at this
But
point, just give bro his own movie.
unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen. But I
It
would
was
love
cool.
to see him as Gambit again. Like, who doesn't, right?
my two favorite scenes with Gambit, one when he talks about the joke. He's like, "I just shot straight out my dad. I was ready to go. I was laughing in tears during that joke." And two, it's when he starts talking. It's when they're making all the plan, and Deadpool looks over him. He's like, "I got a real good question. Who's your dialect coach? The Minions?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I love those scenes. I'm actually gonna go back to Johnny Storm. I love the fact that scene where Deadpool's that like first of all, homage to the first Deadpool. Oh, that's a superhero landing. And then Deadpool's thinking, "This is Captain America." He's goes, "Oh my God, it's going to say the words Avengers," and then he's Chris, "Flame on."
Yeah, that was such a beautiful misdirect because I hope I'm not like seeing things wrong, but if you guys look at the void when they first land, I believe there's a Captain America shield somewhere on the floor when they land. So
Really?
when Chris Evans does appear, I straight up thought it was gonna be Captain America because also you don't see his like gear, you just see a blue outfit with the white straps or whatever,
Yeah.
thinking it's Captain America.
I think they did that on purpose. No, even like if you take a look at the scene where he dies, he's also wearing like Captain America's pants.
Really?
Yeah, he's wearing the Captain America bottoms, but he has like a new Fantastic Four outfit. So instead of the emblem being on the heart piece or on where the heart's supposed to be, it's actually in the middle.
Oh,
I didn't even
really?
notice.
Oh, I didn't watch
Yeah,
this movie
I
again.
noticed that it was in the middle. I thought that was strange.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. Like so far, we've seen like two different Fantastic Four variants. We've seen one from John Krasinski. Now we saw the OG Chris Evans.
And they both got smoked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just noticed. I think whatchamacallit, I think they have high confidence in the new Fantastic Four movie coming out, where they're just getting rid of these other variants.
I'm very excited for that one too.
Yeah,
But
I mean-
like we've all said, we grew up with the 2005 one. I think it's
I think still to this day, like that's the best one. Even though the bar is low, it's a good bar.
yeah, I guess.
it's a good bar.
Yeah. Do you wish we got more scenes with Centra Noah? Like, I feel like she was there, but like, I wish we got more of her. Like, do you guys feel the same way for that, or would she have the right amount of screen time for?
I think she was. On one hand, I do get it. I don't think anybody went into this movie caring about the villain,
Mhm.
But I do, on the other hand, think that she could have been fleshed out a lot
Yeah,
better.
no, because whatchamacallit. So, we didn't get much backstory about her. What would have been nice is we could have seen like maybe like scenes of her in the womb and what Charles Xavier did to her, because like I believe her origin story goes something along the lines of her and Charles are in their mother's womb, and then Charles ends up killing her because he detects that she's like up to no good, like she has evil intentions, like she's just an evil person.
Yeah.
So I felt like we should have seen a scene like that, so we can have the audience sort of like empathize with this character.
Yeah, exactly. But the scene when they finally get Juggernaut's helmet and they defeat Nova. And the scene where Wolverine's like, no, Charles wouldn't like this, and they let her go. I wish that scene hit me a little more because I
Yeah.
wish.
So for me, I think that scene would hit a little bit more if it wasn't Wolverine that did it. I wish Charles just appeared out of nowhere and just told everything like he cared about Cassandra and everything in that time, like what Wolverine was saying, because I think it would came across a little bit more emotional and hit better with the story if he was delivering it to her instead of Wolverine.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Because, like, I get it, but, like, I just need a little more backstory for that scene to hit me, right? Like, hit me the feels. I want to empathize with Wolverine during that scene because I love Hugh Jackman, but I can't do that when there's not enough backstory for the worst Wolverine to, unfold that. And I was surprised that Charles Xavier didn't even make a cameo in this. Wow, I was like really shocked about that.
Same. I thought we were gonna get him for sure, especially considering that his twin sister's the main villain of this movie. But I guess that was never in the cards. I'm assuming, or maybe they couldn't get it, scheduling conflicts or something like that. I'm not sure.
So if they'd done a Xavier, which Xavier would you have wanted?
Probably not Patrick Stewart. Probably
James McAvoy.
James
I would
McAvoy.
have had McAvoy also.
Well, this is also like a younger version of well, his sister was a younger version, I guess, right? I don't know. I don't know much about Cassandra Nova in the comics, but
Basically James McAvoy right there.
But he can walk.
There's like this funny joke that someone wrote on my English teacher's chalkboard or whiteboard back in high school, senior year. They wrote something along the lines of, if Charles Xavier can move things with his mind, why can't he move his legs? I started dying.
Bro, I'm not gonna laugh at that.
But I think what John said was perfectly because James McAvoy was filming, I think, See No Evil, not See No Evil, Speak No Evil at the same time. So they couldn't get him.
Yeah.
Probably for that.
All right. So my next question is, what was your favorite Deadpool variant and Wolverine variant in this movie?
Start?
I mean, I don't know his bias. I not only did we get the yellow and blue costume, but we also got the yellow and brown costume. So that was awesome to see. So I'm a little bit biased there. But I also Deadpool variants. I mean, they were all pretty throwaway, just in the background. But I thought Nice Pool was really funny, so I would go with it. And Dog Pool. I mean, we haven't talked about Dog Pool at all yet. I thought she was adorable.
I love Dogpool.
That was awesome to see. Those are my two answers.
So I want to say my favorite Wolverine variant was Henry Cavill. Obviously, I'm a huge Henry Cavill fan. I think DC did him dirty, like very dirty. And as far as Deadpool variant, I would want to say I wish we could have seen more of Lady Deadpool.
Yeah, me too. I wish they'd show who played Lady
Exactly,
Deadpool
yeah.
instead of the
That would have got a
voice.
big pop, like especially some people, like for people that are Blake Lively fans that have seen. I forgot what show she was in.
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl, yeah.
Remember the Gossip Girl joke? Wait, was it human? Like we have 206 bones in our body.
When you watch Gossip Girl, you get an extra one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would have liked to see more Lady Deadpool as opposed to Nice Deadpool. I would have much preferred Lady Deadpool.
Yeah. I mean, Nice Deadpool was funny. I mean, it was hilarious because it was nice. Oh, that going Glocks, bro. That was sick, though.
That was, yeah.
So, Dakota, what's your favorite Deadpool Wolverine variant?
Variant for Wolverine might be the comic accurate one. I was not expecting for them to throw that one out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of general audiences members didn't get that, unlike us comic book fans that actually recognized what that meant.
Yeah.
And my favorite Deadpool variant is probably Baby Deadpool. I just love how they just like literally have a Baby Deadpool. And I love the scene when they get to through all the Deadpools, and he's just sitting right there and kind of thinking, what they're going to do to baby Deadpool, and he just laughs, and Ryan
Yeah,
Reynolds Deadpool is like, "Well, you're laughing at, motherfucker."
yeah. Um, yeah, that scene was hilarious. I actually thought like Baby Depp was gonna do something with katanas because that'd be freaking hilarious. Uh, for me, my favorite has to be the variant Wolverine fight Hulk because I always wanted a live action Hulk and Wolverine movie. I'm hoping it's gonna happen one day. Like it's giving me a bit hope that's gonna happen with that little tease. And for Deadpool variants, I do like Nice Pool. You know, he's cool. But it has to be Lady Deadpool. I know we didn't really get too much of her, but it was cool seeing Blake Lively back as that role. Actually, not Pure Pool. That's my final answer. Pure Pool.
That's a good answer. Good answer.
Mhm.
I think those are all good answers. I mean, yeah, I like Nice Pool. I would like to see more of Lady Deadpool too,
Mhm.
especially I didn't know it was Blake Lively. If I knew that, I would have definitely wanted to see
Mhm.
a mask reveal. I think that would have been really funny, especially for those who know.
Blake
Um,
Lively.
yeah,
I think that would have been a big pop, like especially for some of the girls in the audience because they're Blake Lively fans. They watched because I know her cousin. She likes Gossip Girl. I remember watching it with her and being like, "Oh, that's Blake Lively."
Yeah, and then my next question is, what are your thoughts on that sequence when Wolverine first puts on his mask during the end of the film? Like, what
yeah.
were your thoughts on that?
I knew it was gonna happen at the very end of the movie, judging by the trailers and stuff. I was fine with that. He keeps it on for a while too, so I was very happy
He
about
should
that. He
have.
looks great.
I think he should have kept it on for the for most of the movie, honestly. Because think
I,
about it, Robert Pattinson had his Batman mask on for most of the movie. He didn't take it off. So I mean, why can't
well, I
Wolverine do the
think
same?
because this is something the fans were waiting for, so they wanted to build anticipation to
Yeah,
it. So I don't mind that at all. He was already in the yellow and blue the entire time,
Mhm.
so I kind of like this reveal. I thought it was a very smart way to do
Mhm.
it.
He was just missing those shoulder pads, though. I mean, y'all got everything except the shoulder pads. Like, give me everything, or don't give me anything.
I mean, that could be a reason because Hugh Jackman was dealing with skin cancer, so maybe that's why there's no shoulder pads because it did need some. I don't know, but it could be a reason why.
I like
Uh,
the design overall, to be honest. So I'm
yeah,
pretty happy with what they did.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy he at least got to wear the yellow suit because that would have been like the most missed opportunity ever.
yeah. And you know what, I love the sequence when I don't know how to explain this. The scene when they were trying to stop Nova, and it's like Deadpool goes in there, and then Wolverine, they're like trying to stop the multiverse breach, and Wolverine's suit just burns off, and Deadpool sees abs. I thought that was hilarious. I don't know how to
Mhm.
describe what was going on during that scene because it was a little complicated for me, but yeah.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman is proof that no matter how old you are, you gotta prioritize your body. Because he's like what almost gonna be 60. Not gonna lie, and bro looked like as if he was like a ripped 20-year old. Like I'm all
Yeah.
like, I want to look like that when I'm 50 something.
Yeah, me too. And I didn't get Dakota's thoughts on this. What do you think about the mass suit up scene, bro?
I think it's a good point in the movie. Kind of like John said, we needed that build up, and like the only thing I wish is, even though we got the sleeveless, I wish we got the full like suit of sleeves and everything first, in the whole entire like at the beginning of the movie, and like probably lost them like halfway through the movie during like what was it, the fight at the void at the Cassandra Nova layer. But that part of just the music, the everything was just on point for that
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, and I think the soundtrack in this movie was excellent. It was super fitting for the tone. It just works. It was a great soundtrack overall. And another thing I like that forgot to mention, I love the fact that you see X-23 wear the same sunglasses that the character
Yes, I
did
agree.
in Logan. I thought that was fantastic. And yeah. Speaking of X-23, do you think she should be the MCU Wolverine?
I
I would love that. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it, but I was kind of hoping for Taron Egerton to play Wolverine.
I feel like they could have like a two Wolverine scenario. You know,
Like kind of like how there's two Spider-Men, Miles and Peter. Same deal.
Yeah,
That's perfectly
but
fine.
I believe Kevin Feige did mention something along the lines of like whoever's going to play Wolverine next, they're not going to be a Hugh Jackman ripoff. I think they're going to have their own twist to Wolverine, like their own interpretation. So that'd be cool because like because we've been seeing Hugh Jackman play Wolverine for like what, like 24 years now. So it'd be a breath of fresh air to see a new take.
yeah, 100%. Is that like, do you guys want to discuss more about Deadpool Wolverine? Do you have any other thoughts for it, or y'all good?
I actually have a question.
Yeah.
Are there any variants, Fox Universe, MCU, Sony, that you guys would have liked to see in the movie, and you guys were disappointed that they weren't in it?
Um, I like Dakota go first. He's thinking hard.
Yeah, Dakota.
I'm thinking. I kind of want the whole Fantastic Four to show up. I like
Mhm,
Johnny Storm,
yeah.
but if all of them show up, that would have been such a great thing because of course we were supposed to get Fantastic Four 3 with them, and we never
Right.
got the chance with that.
I would like James Marsden Cyclops in it,
Mhm.
or Ian McGinnis Magneto would be really cool. I I want to, they have Sabretooth and that little fight scrap thing that lasted like 2 seconds, but I would actually like to see the origins.
Yeah, leave Schreiber's Sabretooth. He was
Sabretooth,
yes, he was
like he was
really good
actually
at
really
that.
good as a character, so I would rather have him be the Sabretooth cameo in Deadpool Wolverine. Like, no shade to the other guy, he does a great job too. I feel like they recasted most of the X-Men characters that were in there.
Yeah, I believe there's been 3 different Cyclopses. There's James Marsden. There's the dude from Origins, and there's the dude from the Phoenix movie, and then X-Men Apocalypse and Days of Future Past, I believe. Yeah. What is there any variant that you'd have liked to see?
No, I mean, like I said, I'm kind of tired of the multiverse stuff, so I feel like the ones they chose for this movie were perfect. I mean, I guess we talked earlier, it would have been nice to see Charles Xavier considering who they chose for the villain of the movie, but other than that, I'm pretty content. I didn't really expect anyone beyond the Fox universe to really be in the movie, so.
Personally, for me, I talked to you about this. I would have liked to see Eric Bana's Hulk as Maestro.
Yes.
Yeah.
As
So
Maestro.
I would have loved during the Wolverine and Hulk scene instead of
Oh,
we either could gotten Edward Norton's, even though it's the MCU. I kind of wish they would do that, or Eric Bana's Hulk.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. That would have been nice.
I tell you, what y'all think about the little Thor cameo? Because that was funny.
Was that actually Chris Hemsworth? Did he actually come back to film that?
I feel like they did, dude.
I wonder if they're going to bring that back into a future movie, or we're going to find out why Thor is
Secret
crying.
Wars, out. Secret Wars, cough,
Mhm.
cough.
He's not credited, so I think they might have had a stunt double do that.
I don't think they do a close up on his face. It looked like Chris Hemsworth.
Maybe it's Luke Hemsworth.
Maybe recycle the scene from like Thor Dark World and just like.
That's what I was thinking too, because it has the same background.
Or is it Liam Hemsworth? Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a nice little cameo though.
Okay, so it's none of the Hemsworth brothers. I think that scene might have been like, kind of like a reused scene from maybe Thor: The Dark World, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was Thor: The Dark World between him and Loki.
Yeah.
What's Thor crying?
Because Deadpool, man.
So what y'all ratings on Deadpool Wolverine out of 10?
I would say an 8 out of 10 is a fair score. I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the movie a lot more than I thought I would, but I did have some problems with it. Like, Deadpool and Wolverine's motivations just weren't strong enough to carry the movie. And also the motivation of the villain weren't there either. I thought it was I thought those things were kind of shoved to the back to get these variants and cameos in there. But what really carried this movie hard was the fact that they treat a lot of these cameos and variants with a lot of respect and give them time to shine.
Mm-hmm.
And is not just Deadpool in the MCU, but a tribute to everything that we've seen before the MCU. So I thought this movie was a class act completely. There are just some things that I think should have been done better, but other than that, I would definitely want to rewatch this sometime soon. I had a blast. It made me laugh. I think it's an overall great movie. So I think 8 out of 10 is a fair score.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8 out of 10 too. I did feel like some scenes did drag out a little bit, like that scene where he was first in the TVA. I felt it just went on and on and on and on. I'm like, all right, y'all can switch locations, y'all can do something else more dynamic, to keep the audience engaged. Yeah, I felt that they should have done that. Also, the character motivation should have been a lot stronger, especially with the villain. That would have been nice to see, like backstory, like scenes of her, like in the womb. Charles Xavier ends up finding out that she's bad. So that would have been a lot cool because your villain, a villain could either make or break a film. Luckily, she didn't break the film, and she did a great performance, whoever the actress was. But yeah, that is a complaint that I have. And then how about you guys?
Do you want to go first? All right. For me, I give it 9 out of 10. I got blast. I think what holds back is the motivations, like y'all said. But other than that, I thought it's a really fun time. It's a movie that kept me entertained from start to finish, and I feel like it's just a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
For me, I give it 10 out of 10. I love this movie. It's a good time. It's Deadpool. We get Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. We get, like you said, the cameos, and the cameos are treated good. And the comedy hits very well, especially that post-credit scene. I love that post-credit scene.
Oh yeah.
And I was going to ask you guys, where would you rank this in your MCU like films?
Ooh.
It's so hard to do an MCU ranking because there's so many, so it's always hard to pick a spot for it. But if I give it an 8 out of 10, I would say it's somewhere in the top 10 because there's like 20 something MCU movies, so I feel like it belongs somewhere in the top 10.
Top 10, definitely, yeah. It was. I think it's up there with Spider-Man: No Way Home because just because of that nostalgia, it really hit me.
Yeah, I would say somewhere in the top 10 for me. I don't know where, but somewhere there.
For me, it's probably I have No Way Home at 6. I Deadpool Wolverine at 7. I'm gonna let how Deadpool Wolverine like ages after this theater experience when it's on like stream and see how it is because it's going to take a factor to see if it ages well for me or it doesn't.
That's a good point you make because the thing about No Way Home and the big difference between No Way Home and Deadpool 3 is I feel like Deadpool 3 handles the clap for this moments better because in No Way Home it's silence. When you rewatch those Andrew and Toby scenes at home, they don't hit nearly as hard. Even though I love No Way Home, it's in my top 5, I think, in terms of MCU. But yeah, I think I would need to rewatch the movie, but I want to see how Deadpool handles those wow moments when you're not watching it in the theater, and I think that will really kind of decide where I would place it in my top 10, whether it be higher or lower. So
yeah.
So out of 34 MCU movies so far, I got this in number 3.
Ooh,
number 3.
Can I ask what's your number 2 and number 1?
Number 2 is Guardians 3.
Fantastic.
And the number 1's Infinity War.
Okay, I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Great picks.
So Dakota, you want to talk about the MCU news?
Okay, so we got a pretty good bit of MCU news yesterday because Comic-Con was yesterday. Marvel had their panel. So we got they showed 4 movies. They showed 5. They gave us 5 news. They went through Captain America, and the biggest thing I think that we got from Captain America is that they're going to be introducing adamantium in the movie. And so
Wolverine versus Red Hulk is going to happen?
No. So they're going to introduce it. I think it's setting up the X-Men in the future. So you remember in Eternals the statue of the was it Celestial?
Yeah.
It's actually adamantium. I think the story is everyone's trying to go to the statue because everyone knows it's made out of. So I think that's like a little subplot in the movie.
Okay.
But they also talked about Thunderbolts. There was not a lot of news coming out of it. I think Sebastian Stan said that Florence Pugh gave an excellent performance, and she's like a real big part of the movie. And the first trailer was shown there, just to the people at Comic Con. Though the other movie that they were talking about is Fantastic Four, which they have renamed it the Fantastic Four First Steps.
First
What?
steps. That's just
Yeah,
so. I'm the first steps of what?
that's what I'm wondering.
First
Um,
steps to greatness. First steps
Yeah,
to dying.
I think they should have titled it better. Maybe Fantastic Four, Rebirth or something like that. Fantastic Four Adventures of Fantastic Four, something better. You know, because I feel like First
Yeah,
Step is kind of
I
but
like the title. On TikTok, I was kind of privy to the leaked trailer because it's everywhere now. So I wasn't trying to look for it, but it just popped in my feed. I don't know if you guys want me to say what happened in the trailer, but
so I've
um,
seen some pictures. I was going to talk about that real quick.
yeah,
It's just some pictures. So we got our first look at Galactus.
right. I saw that.
He's good. The design is good. I'm glad they're actually doing the right thing, unlike what Fox did in Rise of the Silver Surfer. We also got the team sitting at the table, and they actually look good.
yeah, they do
I
look
agree.
good.
Yeah, they do.
So
Especially Peter Pascal.
speaking of Galactus, do you think Galactus is just too a big villain for the first Fantastic Four movie?
It is because Galactus is more like an Avengers level threat, and by Avengers I mean like literally every Marvel character combined
I
working
disagree.
together.
I think it's a perfect fit for the Fantastic
No,
Four.
I think Mole Man would have been a better choice.
No, I love the fact they went Galactus. This is the first time Fantastic Four is going to be introduced in the MCU. I think you got to go big in some regards, but yeah, I thought it was a great choice. I mean, I don't mind it. Like, I think his first appearance was only against the Fantastic Four. I could be wrong there.
Right or no, I mean like there are comics where the Fantastic Four do handle Galactus on their own. However, I feel like just for their first film and just for us to kind of get used to this new Fantastic Four, I felt it should have been Mole Man.
Yeah. Um, because like my issue is, will Galactus be like a bigger like villain? Is it not going to be like a one-off villain? Because I don't want that. Because I want to see Galactus more in the MCU. So like that's why I'm so iffy on the news of him being the first big bad of the
Yeah,
Fantastic Four
I
movie.
actually I have a question for you, Bilal. So now that you mention that, are you saying it's kind of similar? It's like a similar situation with Kang being a villain for Ant Man, Quantumania.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be the same situation about that. Because like Galactus, like it takes so much to take Galactus down. He is one of the strongest characters in the MCU. I mean in Marvel in general, right? So having that big villain in the first Fantastic Four movie feels a little rough for me, you know. But
Right.
at least they're doing something different because most Fantastic Four movies had Doctor Doom as the first villain, and then they build off to Galactus, and the second one being Silver Surfer. But yeah, I feel like it's a too a big villain that afraid that MCU is going to screw Galactus over, like because of that.
So I'm with John on this one. I think this is good because it shows, I think, one, that the MCU can fix Galactus from what Fox done, and it shows that he's a Fantastic Four villain. I kind of agree with you, Bilal. I think it's going to be like he's just going to be there for a little while, then he's going to go off. I think there's going to be another villain in this movie that they're going to have to beat. I think they're setting up for the future, like probably Secret Wars, because technically we don't know if just Doctor Doom's going to be in Secret Wars. He might just be in Avengers 5. And Galactus could be the big part of Secret Wars, or he could be later on down the line when they do the next saga, because we
Yeah.
technically don't know what the next saga is. It could be the Cosmic Saga, and that'll be the perfect thing to just drop Galactus as the big bag in there.
I think he'll definitely come back. I don't see Galactus being a one-off. So I agree with everything Dakota said.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just hoping, like, I'm on Bilal's side. I just don't want it to be a King 2.0 situation, like
Yeah,
where they
exactly.
like it's like a sense of when you go to like a restaurant, you're trying to order appetizers, and the waiter brings you the main course. I'm all like, I can wait for that. Let me get an appetizer first, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we'll see how it's handled. I'm hoping Galactus returns for future movies, but we don't know what direction they're gonna go until we see the movie come out next year. So fingers crossed we see more Galactus because I've been waiting to see a comic accurate Galactus for a while, and he deserves way more than one project for sure.
So our next piece of news that we got is that we finally got a title for Avengers 5. It's no longer going to be called the King Dynasty, and we found out that the villain in the movie is going to be Doctor Doom, and it's going to be called Avengers Doomsday. So they also announced that the Russo brothers are going to be coming back to direct that and Secret Wars, which I'm excited actually for that because I think that's the only person, two guys who can actually do Avengers movie really well. Because we already saw what Josh Whedon did with the first one, in Age of Ultron. Like they're good, but they're not as good level as the last two Avengers movies.
Yeah.
But then the big thing is they announced that the Doctor Doom actor was going to be there, and the guy takes off the mask and it's Robert Downey Jr. So
Throw them up, guys. Throw them up. Throw them up.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Throw
Well,
'em up.
Dakota,
no, no, no. I'm gonna tell you why. I can tell you why. So even though this is Victor Von Doom, I don't know if it was you, John, or somebody else explained to it in the TikTok video about this. That I think this is a Tony Stark that has the ego personality issue. He has took the name of Doctor Doom and he's running with it. I think he has turned bad, turned to Victor Von Doom, which he's not the real Victor Von Doom, and he's going to be acting like this. I think by the end of this, the Avengers are not going to kill him. I think we're going to actually see who the real Victor Von Doom is by the end of this movie. He's going to get killed by him, and I think it's going to be a whole different character. I'm not shocked because I'm really hoping if they do that, that they can get Cillian Murphy.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think they couldn't get Cillian Murphy right now because he's doing the Peaky Blinders movie, but he could do like an end part scene for that and like tease Secret Wars because that would be a really big thing to end Doomsday like that to set up for Secret Wars next year.
Hmm. Well, so a complaint that me and John had with this casting was we had like a laundry list full of complaints. I guess our biggest complaint was the fact that they're recycling
Yeah.
actors because there's so many actors that they could have chose, especially like characters that are of his descent. I believe Doctor Doom is Romanian.
He's Romani, yeah.
Romani, yeah. So they could have chosen actor who is Romani, or any of the other actors that we fan casted. Like I was a huge advocate for Luke Evans playing Doctor Doom because Luke Evans is tall. He's menacing. He's played a character similar to Doctor Doom in Dracula. You know, like they're both very menacing individuals. So I felt that they dropped the ball with this casting. I'm not the biggest fan of it whatsoever. I just think that they're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. and it's like super disingenuous. I think they're just bringing him back to put butts in seats when the movie comes out, and they didn't really need Robert Downey Jr. because we already had closure with his portrayal as Iron Man. Like, do you guys remember Avengers Endgame when he really sacrificed himself
Yeah,
at the end?
exactly. Yeah.
We had closure with Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. We didn't need him back.
Yeah, that was my kind of main thing too. Also, I was putting a lot of weight behind this Doctor Doom not fan cast, but this Doctor Doom casting in general because I love the Fantastic Four. I love Doctor Doom.
Mhm. That's another point.
Yeah, and when they released the Fantastic Four casting, I was like, this is a hit after hit after hit after hit. This is a brilliant casting right here. And I was like, if they did that for Fantastic Four, what are they going to do for Doctor Doom?
Mhm.
And I get the news at Comic Con, he pulls the mask off and it's RDJ, and I'm just like, I was just like baffled. I don't want to be as negative as most people are right now. We haven't seen any footage of him as Doctor Doom, or like what Dakota was saying, maybe
Uh,
in a strange version of Tony Stark that takes on the mantle of Doctor Doom, which is interesting in concept right now, but in my head I just can't wrap my head around it just yet. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm very, very hesitant to be excited for it. This kind of casting was kind of important to me as a big fan of the character, because I've been like, if we're talking about Romani descent or Eastern European descent for Doctor Doom, I grew up with Spider-Man the animated series. Doctor Doom had a full-blown accent in there and everything.
mhm.
So I would have liked to see someone of more diversity kind of get that role,
Yeah.
especially considering Doctor Doom, the name alone, does not need Robert Downey Jr. to carry it. I think
Mhm.
it could have been an unknown. It could have been an up and comer, something like that. I would have been excited to see that kind of play into it.
Yeah, because Robert Downey Jr. he didn't need this role like he needed Iron Man. Like he needed Iron Man, to for his career. Like, Iron Man saved his career. He's already established himself as a talented actor with Marvel and without Marvel. He didn't need to come back for this. Why
Yeah.
not have another actor who is credible, who's also talented, but take on this role to solidify their career, like a Luke Evans or like a Killian Murphy who played Scarecrow and who ended up winning best actor at the Oscars for his work in Oppenheimer. Have him come play Doctor Doom because he plays very serious characters like in Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. I agree with like John and Sean. I love their names, Brian. So cool. Anyways, um, it's Robert Downey Jr. Like you said, he has closure as like as the character Iron Man. Not really closure as the character Iron Man. His like legacy in the MCU. That was like a great way to capture his legacy as a whole in the MCU. My issue is in Robert Downey Jr. as an actor. I'm sure he's going to do a fantastic job as performance. My issue is there's so many up and coming actors that are struggling to get like a big opportunity like this. So like MCU like recycling roles is like a slap to the face towards them, right? So
Yeah,
if they come get like really talented up and comer, this could like really boost up their careers. Like, oh shit, this guy did such a great job at
yeah,
Doctor Doom. Like for example, Heath Ledger's Joker. Like no one really knew Heath Ledger when Joker came out.
exactly. Yeah,
So,
perfect example. Yeah, honestly, I felt another actor that could have maybe played Doctor Doom would be Rami Malek. If you guys know him, he was in
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
yeah,
He could have been great because I mean, even though he solidified his career with playing I forgot his name, Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody. I
yeah.
felt like he could have benefited from his role as well. I mean, I just this bringing back
Oh,
Rudy J just feels super disingenuous.
oh. Speaking of Rami, have you seen Mr. Robot? Because I feel like his performance in that just screams Doom, man.
I've seen trailers because like on Monday Night Raw they would show like trailers for Mr. Robot, and a lot of people talked about it like a couple years back, but I never checked it out myself. But I know Rami Malek from Until Dawn, like the video game.
Yeah,
If you guys have played Until Dawn,
nah,
and he's in there, and he's a really good actor in there.
yeah.
So I think you said a good choice with Rami Malek because in No Time to Die, he's the villain in that, and he's really good in that movie as the villain. He's like sadistic and everything, kind of like a Doctor Doom is. And I don't know if he's actually Russian in that movie, so he could do the accent.
Hmm. And
But
like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
what I was going on is in the panel they showed Secret Wars and they showed Doomsday, right? If they had Robert Downey Jr. and he was going to be in Secret Wars, they could have done Doomsday first and carried on. I'm thinking this is just the one stand, and there's, like I said before, there's either another Doctor Doom because because of course we're getting to like the multiverse stuff. And I think these two Avengers movies are going to really hit the point of multiverse, and we could either get our Doom that we actually want later, like in the next movie, or they could somehow bring Kane back into the picture and actually have recasted another actor because they're in production right now, and it was really hard from Jonathan Majors to get somebody just that quick. And I think this could have been a point of we got to put something together real quick
Mhm.
and figure out. So they could probably just stall this and be like, okay, we could do either if this does do it good, we could do Kang or Doom and another variant, the main Doom, and we could do that with him, or we could actually get our King that we actually want, and that will be the Secret Wars that we actually need.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point that you actually mentioned here. Is that we're not done with the multiverse yet. You know, as much as I would like them to move on from it, I think you make a great point. We're not done yet. I think I completely respect Marvel in not just replacing King and throwing away the multiverse stuff and just moving on. I do understand they can't just stop in the middle; they have to finish it somehow.
Yeah.
So we're still going to see variants. We're still going to see other universes. We're still going to see the TVA. We're still going to see this, that, the other. But I think the important thing for Marvel here was supposed to be them moving forward as much as they can.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like instead of doing RDJ, I think the big reveal should have been. I mean, I guess it can't be a big reveal, but I would have just liked them to recast Kang. Someone with a lot of variants. It would have been very easy to recast a different actor.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah, so I don't understand. This felt very desperate to me. I think
very desperate.
It felt like direction.
I feel like John Boyega would be a good Kang. I mean, he's up there. I mean,
Coleman Domingo.
That's another great one. You could put John Day Washington up there. There's so many great black actors that could play Kang. I don't know why they didn't do it. It's like
they did it multiple times. Like they just did it with General Ross. They did it with Rhodey. They did it with
like I mean,
what about Denzel?
Why not?
Denzel, yeah.
Denzel?
Yeah, but I feel like I can go on and on just about how pissed off I am about this. Yeah, because also I think something you guys haven't mentioned yet is so Doctor Doom actually has history with Reed Richards. How are they going to explain that? Because a vital part about Doctor Doom is even though he's a bad guy and he's like an Avengers level threat, he has more so one-on-one beef with Mr. Fantastic because Mr. Fantastic is
he's a college rival.
He's a college rival, and he's the reason why Doctor Doom's face is like that in the first place,
I think that's when we figure out that this is not really Victor Von Doom. It's going to be a Tony Stark impersonation, and they're just leaning that way. Because that's all I'm thinking there is because there's no reason, like you guys said, like think about more and more. It's like there's no reason to have Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom be Robert Downey Jr. Like I've seen like they recast like actors, the same actors, but the roles before they've been smaller. But this is Robert Downey Jr. This is Iron Man. This is Tony Stark that we're talking about. Yeah. So that's why I'm just leaning more towards because I think they have been going away from a lot of the comic accurate stuff. And I'm thinking they realize it's pissing a lot of fans off, so they're trying to go back that way. And I think that's what they're trying to do right now.
Yeah, I mean,
but if they do full Victor Von Doom, that's going to mess everything up. And I think tarnish, like you guys said, the sacrifice and legacy that Tony Stark left in Endgame.
Yeah. So, like, wait, Fantastic Four is taking place in the 60s. So, could they introduce Doom, like a proper Doom in Fantastic Four, technically?
That's also a very good point because, like, he was mentioning Reed and Victor Von Doom have a lot of backstory that, goes back to when they were in college and stuff like that. And Ben Grimm is also involved in that as well. So having a Fantastic Four where none of that is a thing it's going to be hard because, like, I think Dakota mentioned the leaked photos from the Fantastic Four section of the panel. It's very clearly an origin story movie. And even the title, First Steps, it's very, very clearly an origin story for the Fantastic Four yet again. So this is going to be the first ever time we see the origin story without Victor Von Doom at all.
So what are you talking about, like, origin story-wise? Are you talking about, like, how they got their powers and everything?
Yes.
They're not doing that. They have already announced that they're actually not doing that. They're skipping all that.
Looks like.
Yeah.
The astronauts using everything.
Kevin Feige thought, like, you already done 2 movies, and the first one was good, but that 2015 one was terrible. And he already knows that everyone every comic book fan knows the origin story. So he just wanted to get right into the story.
Okay, I guess it's a flashback then or something, or they're doing something else. I don't know because they
Yeah,
were very clearly.
No, I was under the impression that it was going to be another origin story because they showed clips of them, going on a spaceship, strapping up, like in their astronaut outfits. So
So that's a shock. I guess that's a flashback to.
maybe it's a flashback.
I would love that Dakota, by the way, but that's what it looked like from the stuff they showed at San Diego Comic Con. But I would love to be proven wrong there. I hope you're correct, but I don't know. It just looked like origin wise, and having this be the first Fantastic Four movie without Doom present is fine, but Doom is always like lurking, in the Fantastic Four stories. Even in the current comic book run, Doom is a big part of it as well in a few of the issues. So I'm interested to see what they do here with.
Maybe,
I guess Tony Stark Doom. It's going to be odd.
Maybe they could do the lurking thing for it. In a sense, how they did that with Thanos, like setting them up. So maybe there could be a sequence of like Dark Doom like watching them like throughout the whole movie to set things up, kind of thing. If that makes sense.
So, Bilal, going off what you said, they could set it up right in Fantastic Four, and then we get Tony Stark's, if it's Tony Stark's one in Doomsday. And what about if it's already like established, like you said, rivalry between Reed and Von Doom? And what about if like during the movie we get a portal scene with that Von Doom stepping out, and we all see the reactions like of Reed, like we actually, because like Von Doom in the comics, I think the movies have not been really accurate of like what Von Doom is. Von Doom is like, in one comic, he kills Thanos. And
Right.
It's really hard to kill Thanos. And I think if it's like that, Doom that's in their universe, and you see on Reed's face and all the Fantastic Four's face that's that Doom, I think it'll be more shocking, and it will show that that's what they're setting up actually.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I believe that comic was from Secret Wars, funny enough, where Doom does indeed kill Thanos. I believe that's a 2015 Secret Wars comic book. But yeah, I think they're going to base it more off of the OG Secret Wars, but that was from the 2015 run. So if to do, and I think you've sort of sold me on the idea of this Tony Stark variant of the real one showing up, and you were mentioning Reed, right? I don't know if they're going to do something where Reed sees this Tony Stark Doom and he's like, wait a minute, you're not him, something along those lines, and the real one pops up. I'm sort of sold on it, but I just wish that that Doom, out of all characters, didn't need this weird stunt casting, Yeah. But they really got to sell me. This execution has to be pitch perfect. But if they do something along the lines of what Dakota is saying, I'm somewhat sold. So
yeah, I like Dakota's idea too because I feel like maybe it'll be a good twist, like. But still, I feel like it's super disingenuous too because they're just using RDJ to sell tickets or get people hooked. Because Doctor Doom should already be enough to for you to want to see the movie. I'm a huge Doctor Doom fan as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I know we grew up watching the Fantastic Four movies, and then Julian McMahon's portrayal was pretty good actually. Just that the material that he was given was the best. But
yeah,
I think to this day, like his portrayal is still like one of the best live action ones. I mean, like it's not saying much considering there's only two and the other one sucks.
Yeah, what I will say though is Dakota, if they're veering away from what you're saying, you got to run into that writer's room and make some changes happen. I'm only sold on the way you are phrasing it because that's the only thing I'll take. This is not the real Von Doom. It's the only thing.
Yeah,
because like they normally show a lot of details and like upcoming movies like Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. They told details 2 years ago, and for Secret Wars they didn't tell no details. So it's like it's up in the air what Secret Wars is really about. So that's why I'm just leaning more that way. But Bolo, do you guys have anything else?
no. How about you, man?
I'm good. Are you guys good down there?
I think that's all I have to say. I mean, I think I said it earlier. I don't want to be too negative just yet. I am still
negative.
I'm still very excited for Fantastic Four. I think it's the MCU project right now that I'm hanging on to with dear life, hoping that it's great. So yeah, I'm not like I'm not like excited to see Doom, but if they do a play on the variant thing or whatever it might be, I might be okay with it. But overall, I think as of right now, I'm cautiously optimistic about Fantastic Four in this version of Doom. So
Yeah,
Okay,
it was.
because
I think that this discussion was much needed, and it's definitely definitely opened my eyes. And then Dakota, I mean, I do like Dakota's idea as well. I just hope that they end up doing that because I'm not in favor of Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. But that's just me. I'll never be in favor of that. But if they do what Dakota is talking about, then maybe I'll be okay with it.
do you guys think they should have never said anything about Robert Downey Jr.? Just go into the movie with Doom being in there, and it just shows that it's Robert Downey Jr. in front of
that
everybody.
I think yes, because I think the phrasing of this reveal was very wrong,
Right.
in my opinion. I think the Russo brothers, if you guys watch the clip, the Russo brothers very clearly state we need a big actor for Victor Von Doom. And I think just saying that, I think turned a lot of gears in the wrong way,
Mhm.
especially with me in terms of the casting. So,
Right, because there's so many
And
actors that are. Robert Downey Jr. is not the only actor out there, and he didn't need this. Like I keep mentioning, he didn't need this.
especially because Doom is a character that has his face covered like 99% of the time because his face is so disfigured. So, you
yeah.
know,
Speaking of Russo brothers, I'm iffy on it. I mean, yes, the main Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Endgame, and a whole bunch of MCU bangers is, but like they have like a sense of direction for ghost movies, and I don't see that in the MCU right now.
that's a
And,
very good shout. That's also
and
my thing right now because the Russo brothers, like you said, they had everything lined up for them, and they just made it bigger. That's all they had to do. Right now, they don't have a lot to work with.
exactly, and I've been looking at their works outside the MCU, and it's looking really rough for them. And so it's like I'm 50-50 on it. Like, if the MCU was going the right direction, they have enough pieces to make these fantastic movies, I would not have this issue. But again, calling them over last second is another desperate move from the MCU, if that makes sense. And
So this is what I think they called them. So when they done the last rewrites and reshoots of Captain America: Brave New World, they called both of them in. They brought both of them in to fix this situation. I think. I'm not shocked after this movie comes out that we learned that Anthony and Joe Russo had more had their hands more in the Captain America project than we thought it was. And I'm thinking if that movie's actually good after everything that they have done, it's probably just the nail in the coffin that for Kevin Feige to agree to put them in these two movies.
yeah, for sure. And I like y'all have the fun novel bunch have your thoughts on that first.
Oh, what happened? Sorry, I missed that last part. Like you said, it kind of on my end at least.
So, what was your guys' thoughts like? How Marvel just like brought the Russo brothers right in when they were doing the last couple reshoots and rewrites of A Brave New World.
Uh, that's. I mean, I don't know. You can compare that to a lot of things for sure. Because a director joining last minute to kind of help out with reshoots and stuff. It's never. It doesn't have the best track record, especially in comic book movies for sure. But in that Brave New World trailer, I didn't hate it or anything, but it didn't get me like super pumped. But if the Rooster Brothers had to step in to help with any movie, it just makes sense that it's the Captain America one. So
Yeah.
Do you feel it's
Dakota, are
desperate?
you? I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
Do you guys feel it's a desperate move though, for to
very,
bring them
very
in?
much
Very,
so.
yeah.
I think it's just another thing of. I mean, I didn't want to mention it, but DC just did it. They were seeing Zack Snyder's vision and it wasn't working, so they had Joss Whedon come in and finish up Justice League, and it became all jumbled. But I guess this is a different case entirely because the Russo brothers, like the tone of this movie is not much different than what the Russo brothers are akin to. So I don't see it being too bad of a thing, but it also I do feel bad for the original writers and the original directors trying to get their vision across and having other ones just jump in and try to help, as they say. I think that's sort of a little messed up on the part of the original creators, so or original people working on the film.
I think Dakota is bringing up a feeling of concern, right? Because you mentioned the fact that the Russo brothers had to do a bunch of reshoots for Captain America: Brave New World, and now next thing you know, Kevin Feige's like, "Oh, guys, guess who's directing these next Avengers movies? The Russo brothers, the same people that have to do reshoots for Brave New World because it wasn't being received that well from test audiences."
Yeah, that's what it kind of, because I think Marvel knows that they have been doing not good movies. Besides, I think like Deadpool and like Wakanda Forever and like No Way Home, those were like great movies.
Shang-Chi.
And Shang-Chi, but of course, Dustin Daniel Cretton was supposed to do Kang Dynasty, dropped out though because they had it all aligned, and I think they're just trying to go back to what they've done before. It's kind of like, um, if it's broken, let's go back to the original material, and that's what they're trying to do because I think that's just it though. They're just I think it's a desperate time because I think DC looks like they're like jumping forward and like doing great things with James Gunn. I think Marvel knows it's happening soon, so they're trying to play catch up ball right now and jump straight forward so DC can never catch them again.
It's crazy how the roles have almost reversed now.
Right.
I never foresaw this back in the Zack Snyder the dark days, you know. So I mean, it's just a matter of seeing what's going to happen for the future. I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic, and obviously the MCU, you know, it's not going to be perfect always. It's been going on for so long. So, and DCU is this new fresh kid on the block, you know. So even though they're not technically fresh, they've been around longer, but they've been messing up more and more. So, you know, now they're like this new thing out of nowhere. So I feel like Marvel is trying to make too many hasty decisions, but I hope it doesn't end up in, you know, bad quality stuff going forward. I'm trying to be as excited and as cautiously optimistic as I can.
Okay, I think that's it for all of us for this episode.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sean and John, for joining us for this episode.
Yeah, sorry for the
Of course.
constant chaos and moving around, but
Yeah.
I think I said this in the beginning, but I've been wanting to be on this podcast for a while. So
Yeah.
finally, 26 episodes in, I got to make an appearance. So I'm very honored to finally
I
be
think
on.
it's a perfect episode for you guys to be on here also
Exactly,
because
yes.
not only Deadpool,
I'm
but we
always
just got this
down
great
for
news.
this. Yeah, like I enjoyed this podcast. You know, I've always wanted to be on a podcast. It's
Yeah.
been like a dream of mine. So yeah, I'm always down to talk about like things that I'm passionate about, whether it be comic books, whether it be comic book movies, whether it be movies in general, whether it be wrestling, MMA. I'm always down to talk about anything.
So, guys, with that being said, when you guys, our next episode next week, we'll be reviewing Trap, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. Me and Bilal will, hopefully, Sammy was going to be on the episode. But our review for next week for Cinemac Boys review is going to be Alien 3. I heard it's probably one that we're.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you guys haven't yet or new here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And if you guys are listening to the audio version, give us a rating on Spotify or Apple, follow us, and also follow our social medias. Our handle is right up here. And also go follow Sean and John on their social medias also. I'll put that down in the bio. But guys, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.
Cool. Thank you for having us, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
MBK out.